What's in that cup?
What you got in that cup?
Aside from mold.
It's
spores.
Okay, I washed it this time. We're in health and fitness where we try to give people habits and we try to implement habits into our lives to become healthier and more fit. But at what stage is it like no longer health and fitness?
This is a very interesting before and after picture because I think there would be a lot of people who would be like, I dig the picture on the left way more. Hanging out with Jason Khalipa one day and he pointed to the wall at his gym and he was like, man, that was such a great day. And he's pointing to when he won the CrossFit Games championship in like 2008 or whatever that was, or 2007. And his wife Ashley was there and she's like, no, it wasn't. What if somebody says, okay, the ball drops in New York City and it's the next year and I got a New Year's resolution. And you know what? In this year time, I am going to commit to running a marathon, even though right now I weigh 350 pounds. That training could change that person's life forever. It could be the healthiest thing they ever did. Are you healthier sitting at home ordering DoorDash, or are you healthier sticking some tren in your arm? Like, I don't know, I don't know.
Why you got to do that? I thought you were going to be, are you healthier running? But you go to Trent.
Did I say Trent?
So good.
What the fuck, Mark?
That was great. The average person that's not into bodybuilding, like for them to set up a date or a time and be like, whether it be I'm going to jump on stage or I'm going to do a photo shoot, do you think they can still kind of get pretty aggressive with it and be okay?
They can when they get the right habits in place.
Yeah, I want to also say that sometimes when you're just losing like body weight, that you're, why are you looking at me like that? What are you doing?
Like what? Am I? What? Hey, pull up the black young doctor.
That's it.
Do you guys remember the story of this motherfucker?
That's why you were looking. No, what'd this guy do?
Yeah.
He legit started a whole practice where like the news came in and he took them through his office, but it was a scam.
Being accused of posing as a doctor.
That's great.
Out. Denies taking money from patients.
Nah, I didn't. What?
Y'all got to go to this. Go find this YouTube video.
He's like,
comedy.
It was a fake non-for-profit practice.
Power Project family, how's it going? Now, we talk about sleep all the time on the podcast because it's one of the biggest things that helps you with your health and fitness, your recovery, your muscle gain, your fat loss, everything. That's why we've partnered with 8 Sleep for such a long time now, because the technology behind the mattress allows you to track your heart rate, the amount of times it takes you to fall asleep, your tosses and turns, your heart rate variability. It changes its temperature through the night based off how you sleep, but not only yourself, but maybe your partner on the other side of the bed. It is an amazing mattress. Andrew, how can they learn more?
Yes, head over to 8sleep.com/powerproject. That's 8 spelled out, EIGHT, sleep.com/powerproject. Along with more information, you guys will actually save $150 off of your entire order automatically. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
Hello?
Don't do that.
He's just trying to fix his mustache.
I saw the funniest comment the other day. Someone said, since when did Sergeant Doakes get on this podcast? You know what Sergeant Doakes is?
I don't know.
What?
You don't know who Sergeant Doakes is?
Mm-mm.
From Dexter?
No.
Hey, motherfucker. That doesn't, you never watched Dexter?
I've never seen it.
Surprise, motherfucker. Let me just, one second. Surprise, motherfucker. James Doakes.
That's
he was
great.
so good in Dexter. hey, Andrew, just type in Doakes on YouTube and see if you can find that video where like he's in the red shirt. That shit is hilarious.
He's got in that picture, he had a pretty hardcore, tucked in shirt.
Mm-hmm.
That's always an interesting look when you tuck it in like that.
It's the easiest Halloween costume. I think I might just do that.
Yeah,
shit.
there you go.
But yeah, I saw that comment. I'm like, hey, man, thanks for the idea.
I'm just seeing the surprise, motherfucker.
Just play that. It's great. It's comedy.
It's funny.
And if you guys haven't watched Dexter, great series. I watched it. It used to be my comfort show to go to sleep years ago. Some may think I'm a psychopath for that, but it's okay.
It's like hacking up bones or something, right?
He's a serial killer. Yeah, the second video.
This one?
Yeah, that one.
Okay. I'll have to probably edit this out anyway.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's where that meme came from.
That's his line. All right, we can find that.
All right, cool. Now nobody needs to watch Dexter.
It's such a good show.
It's pretty boring.
That was the best part.
Yeah.
That was the best part. Surprise, motherfucker.
That guy's kind of jacked.
He is. Doakes was jacked. He was jacked.
What do we got?
I ran.
What's in that cup?
What you got in that cup?
Aside from mold,
It's
spores.
Okay, I washed it this time. I did wash it before I used it this time. Powerproject.live, peeps. Head over there, get yourself your.
Is that the same mug that I was using to wash my toast spreaders in? Oh yeah, I think it is.
It could be. The liquid tastes a little bit sour, but it's good for the gut.
Mm-hmm. The gut microbiome.
The gut microbiome needs variety if you want to be able to digest food well. So, info at powerproject.live to get your double pussy mug.
It's just powerproject.live.
God, I can't even get our website right, guys.
It's okay.
Powerproject.live, microdose shirt, mug.
You have to spell out dot to get there. And it's cap sensitive. DOT.
And you have to manually put the HTTPS dot blah blah blah. I don't even
It's
know.
an old website.
Yeah,
It's a long story.
it's on DOS.
Go there.
Why
go
do we
there.
confuse people so much?
I don't know.
We'll tell people like how important it is to be like strict with their food, and then we start talking about donuts and cookies.
Because they're good. By the way,
That's
this
true.
is another side thing. I ended up on a weird side of YouTube this morning. Y'all seen Django Unchained?
Yeah.
I absolutely love Django Unchained. That's a great movie.
I have to rewatch it though because I just I came across Jamie Foxx talking about the scene where Leo like broke his hand open. You remember that?
Oh yeah. It's
Where he was like,
yeah,
saying
ad-libbed and stuff.
yeah. That shit. I watched that scene. I'm like, wow, I need to watch this movie again. But
Did he talk about how hard it was for Leonardo DiCaprio to say that, right?
That's the clip I
And he
came
was
up
like,
on.
no, man, just like, it's art, right? Like, just go for it. And he was like, I don't know.
And apparently the next day, like after Jamie Foxx and Samuel Jackson said that to him, he saw him the next day.
He's letting
and
it fly.
He was like, hey, what's up, Leo? And Leo didn't even respond to him. He just walked by him because he was in character.
yeah.
Because Jamie Foxx was like, we are property. All right, look at us like property. So the next day he comes in and he's methoding it.
Yeah.
So Jamie's like, what's up?
Jesus.
And he doesn't even pay him attention. He's like, that's mine.
Oh my gosh. That's
I got to rewatch it, man. That movie was
And
amazing.
I forgot, like, I pounded his fist on the table or something, and he cut his hand open on something, like legitimately cut his hand open on something. And he just kept going, and like the blood, I think, got him fired up. And it's like, it's an incredible scene. Unbelievable.
In that scene, the woman he has, he smeared his bloody hand on her face during that. That wasn't part of it. He wasn't, but he went like this on her and she had his blood all over her face.
They all must have been like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's a crazy scene. It's on YouTube, so y'all can watch it.
That's where I like. And it's funny. So I was watching the auditions for Superbad, and it's fucking incredible because like the two main characters. So Seth Rogen was like being the bigger dude. I forgot what his Jonah Hill. There you go. And then the other guy's name something Sarah.
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera. But he's reading the script as the character in Superbad. But everyone around him is just fucking laughing. But he does not break character, and it's so weird because it's like obviously I know that this goes on. But seeing it just raw on like a fucking shitty little handheld, like a mini DV camera or something from back in the day, and it's like I wanted to send it to my daughter because she's like getting ready for this play and stuff, and she's like really into it, and she like likes acting and stuff. I wanted to send it to her, but like they started talking about like dick and pussy and all kinds of funny shit in the script. So obviously,
I gotta learn at some point.
but I couldn't send it. Okay, today's not that point. But I don't know, dude. It's so cool because like being in that character and not breaking when everybody you can hear them howling laughing and then when fucking McLovin comes on screen same thing, they're all going nuts. And it's just like, dude, yeah, these fucking the art of it is fucking incredible what they do.
I think there's shows, more than one show, but I think Curb Your Enthusiasm is like pretty much like they give you like a topic and they just start going back and forth.
That's
I've heard so much about it. I've never
It's so
seen
good.
Isn't it like they don't have lines, right? Like
From what I've heard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta watch it. I gotta watch
It's really good. I don't think it aged well because like the last time I looked at it, it like literally like standard definition didn't age well. Like it looks like shit, so it kind of takes you out of it. But it's really good.
That's the show. With
It's
the
still
old white
going.
guy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
forgot
still
his name.
It's still going. Yeah, his name doesn't come to mind at the moment, but it's the guy that did Seinfeld. And then in this show, like there's like there's one episode in particular where he's trying to get like clout from when he did Seinfeld.
Larry David.
And he's wearing like a satin jacket from Seinfeld, like at like a bar. He's trying to get like people's attention, and nobody knows who the fuck he is. He's kind of be like, you know that show? I wrote that show, you know.
You know, I know I wasn't like old when Seinfeld was on, but I watched it as an adult. And I was like, I don't get all why.
I love shows like that. Like, What About Raymond? Like, I never got it.
Everybody Loves Raymond was good.
Everybody Loves Raymond. There's shows that I've seen that
was good.
Yeah, I like Ray Romano. I think he's awesome.
Yeah.
Like he's in what Ice Age, right? He's the woolly mammoth. Yeah. He makes a badass woolly mammoth. But I never got that show.
You watched The Nanny with Fran Drescher?
No.
I guess that's because I was in a house full of women. So oh well.
But the dad on.
I mean, I also watched The Golden Girls. I've seen every episode maybe twice. Great show.
That's funny.
I've seen a lot of that too.
Yeah. But Raymond's dad on that show is fucking incredible.
Yeah,
that dude's so funny because he's so like rude to everybody.
I think like if you don't like something, like there's no turning back. Like you can't all of a sudden, you know, because I'm thinking of like characters on some of these shows, and yeah, like you're mentioning, you know, this particular character, and you want to tell your friend, yeah, but this guy's dope, and then you're like, I can't. He doesn't. It's fine. Like it's over. He doesn't really like it. It's cool. It's all right.
Yeah. Like, and Nsima talking about Dexter, and then like off air, I was telling him like, well, dude, like I watched this one episode and I predicted the whole thing. It was like not entertaining. I was literally bored. But he's like, dude, it's really good. But you're right. I'm like, I'm already out. Like I can't.
Dexter is formulaic. It is formulaic, but I guess it's just something about the Miami vibes is so soothing in that show, even though he kills people in every episode. I'm telling you, there was a point in my life where I was just like, let Dexter play, and I would just fall asleep.
The soothing sound of.
I saw something really cool from Christian Bale the other day. It was a clip where he was talking about career suicide, and he was talking about the movie that he made where he was like murdering people, and he was just this like psycho. What we talked about the other day, American Psycho.
Yeah,
American Psycho, and he was talking about the role as Batman, and he was just talking about taking on all these roles and how detrimental it was going to be to his career, and he was like, those are the roles for me. He's like, I'm going to select those on purpose. And you remember he did that other role too where he lost like, I don't know, he's already like a lean, in shape guy, lost like 70 pounds or something. And it was just, you could see like his spine and all that shit. It was wild.
Yeah, he was dope in Thor also. He was the main bad guy.
Oh yeah, that movie. Yeah, he was good. Well, I mean, I guess this kind of leads into our conversation in terms of like, you know, how far can somebody take something to where it becomes unhealthy? Because we're in health and fitness where we try to give people habits and we try to implement habits into our lives to become healthier and more fit. But at what stage is it like no longer health and fitness? And is that a problem? Like, it's interesting. There's this guy, Vitruvian Physique, and Greg obviously made a video about his prep, but Vitruvian Physique.
Coach Greg.
Coach Greg. Coach Greg made a video about him, and Vitruvian Physique is going through a natural bodybuilding prep. And the interesting thing is, every natural bodybuilder who has gotten stage lean has had the point where their testosterone just plummets. That happened to me in my last prep. For the last 4 or 5 months of my prep, I had no libido. The girl I was with, I had no desire to have sex with her. I just really wanted to eat food because I was so lean that I know I didn't get it tested. But because my libido was gone, I knew that my testosterone was in the shitter. And then post-show, it took me about 4 months to start feeling normal again. But I didn't need to use TRT or anything. And this Vitruvian Physique guy, he made a video saying, hey, guys, I might actually need to get on TRT, HRT, but I don't know if he realizes like that's actually just something that happens if you get that lean naturally. Your test will hit the shitter. It happens to all of us.
Leave that picture up for a little bit.
Yeah, it happens to all of us. So it's definitely unhealthy at a certain extent, but implementing aspects of bodybuilding can be very healthy.
This is a very interesting before and after picture because I think there would be a lot of people who would be like, I dig the picture on the left way more.
Yep.
To me, it looks healthier. He looks more muscular. He looks like he might be a little bit of a mixed athlete, like being able to be strong and being able to, do other sports and stuff like that. And in the other picture, even though he still is muscular, he looks skinny. He kind of looks skinny, and I think a lot of people would be like, yeah, I think and it's, whatever, everyone has different flavors of what they like. But yeah, it's like you can take this stuff way too far. And also, like, is it even attractive? Is it even something that is going to kind of help you get whatever it is that you might be trying to get out of whatever it is the hell that you're trying to do in the particular sport. But you can take these things, way too far. And we've seen it in powerlifting. We've seen it in bodybuilding. Powerlifting for me, it was like, well, let me just gain weight and kind of see where it takes me. And you gain weight and you reassess and you're like, well, that worked pretty good. All right, let me gain some more weight. Let me reassess. And then next thing you know, you're in this trap and you're in this area where what you're doing is very unhealthy. I never really got into powerlifting for health purposes. And I don't think I never really cared about lifting or any other fitness pursuit as anything healthy from when I was younger. And even kind of now, I don't really care that much. Like, I think my health is my health, and I'm going to be conscious of it, and I want to be aware of it. That's why I get blood work. That's why we do stuff with America Health, and I start to kind of examine those things. But like when I work out, it's not it's not for health. I'm trying to, I guess, do certain things for performance. And then if the blood work comes back and something's off, that's when I might have to reevaluate some of the things that I'm doing. But I'm not really trying to like lift to necessarily be healthier. I like to lift kind of more for the aesthetics and more for the performance side of it. So the health side of things is something that is not always front of mind for me. But even when I was powerlifting, it was at least in the back of my head. Like even as I got bigger and bigger and bigger, it was there, but the voice got less and less and less at a certain point because you end up being able to rationalize anything. Like, oh, I'm just going to do this one more meet. I'm 300. I'm going to go up a little bit heavier and see what happens when I'm there. And I'm going to do this. Okay, cool. I did an 800-pound bench, but like it would be sick to do 900. I came like 2 inches away from locking out 400 kilos, 881 pounds, and I wanted to do 900. I did 900 in training off some boards and stuff like that on a bench press. And it was something that I was like, I wanted to do more. I squatted over 1,000, then I wanted 1,050. I squatted 1,050, and then I wanted 1,100. So you just kind of like want more. I think the same thing happens with people getting leaner or people wanting to run. Like, I just got this idea. I want to start to run. I want to be able to run 2 or 3 miles comfortably. And then the next thing you know, running further and further and further. And you might get into a zone where you end up like a Zach Bitter who does like ultra marathons, hundreds of miles.
Before, I don't want you guys to lose your train of thought, but what did that do to the rest of your life? Like going into training, and I mean in all aspects, like leading up to that, but then board pressing, you said 400 kilos in training?
Yeah, well, in a meet, I almost benched 400 kilos just flat out, yeah.
But just in general, like not even at the meet, like the training though, like what do you think that took away from the rest of your life? Like as far as like family or just like everything in general?
I don't really know. I don't know 100% of what it did in those terms, but I do know that like zooming out and looking at somebody else's perspective, I was able to see hanging out with Jason Khalipa one day, and he pointed to the wall at his gym, and he was like, man, that was such a great day. And he's pointing to when he won the CrossFit Games championship in like 2008 or whatever that was, or 2007. And his wife, Ashley, was there, and she's like, no, it wasn't. And I was like, whoa, there's...
Wait, what did she say?
I was like, there's a little bit of tension right here. And I just thought to myself, like, okay, that's two total, same household, 2 people on the same mission. Ashley's supportive of Jason and vice versa. But she was like, that was not a good time. Like that was a rough time. Like for her, it was hard because he was so dedicated to the sport and so dedicated to what he was doing. So even within that household, how much time or how much effort, took a toll on the family. And same thing when I did a bodybuilding show, I got like maybe six weeks into the prep and the contest was coming close, and there was like people were pretty damn pumped about it on social media. I didn't really expect to have that kind of response. I think people didn't expect for me to get in that good a shape like that. And my wife like came to me and she was like, I can't take you like doing this again. And so that means there was something previously that, you know what I mean? So, and that I was like not even fully aware of.
Yeah.
And she was crying. She was really upset. And I said, this will be it. I promise you I will not do another contest. And if I do, we'll sit down and we'll have a real conversation about it. So I'm done. I'm going to do one bodybuilding show and I'm out. And that's what I did.
And Andrew, I sent you a picture of like 2015 in terms of the show, but actually, Mark, I have a question for you. Did Andy kind of go deeper about why she was like, what aspects of you was fucked up at the time of the bodybuilding show? Did she say what, or do you know what it was?
I think, you know, at that time we were in Malibu, like LA area, and it was like supposed to be like a family vacation, but because this bodybuilding thing came around, I was like, this is going to be a sick opportunity to train at Gold's Gym and to train with Michael Hearn. And we did family stuff and things like that. But it's just different, you know. What am I? We're going out to eat and I'm like sipping on iced tea.
Did you still have a sex drive?
Yeah, I still had the sex drive was still there. I mean, the last couple weeks, or last maybe 2 weeks or so was off, but that wasn't really the main. I don't think that was really the main issue. I think the main issue was just not fully being present. You know what I mean? Like just like my mind being somewhere else kind of thing.
Yeah. And I was asking you about that because this was this was in 2015. It was like the last 2 months of my prep, but even the months leading to this show in Canada, I literally had no sex drive. Like it wasn't there. I could try everything, and I was literally just a mouth.
Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think that sex drive is a weird term because when you say sex, I'm thinking about sex, but it wasn't sex. It was just like no desire for affection.
Yeah.
None. Like none. Like I don't need it. And I don't want to give it.
You didn't?
Neither way.
Yeah, it didn't hit like it wasn't.
And I'm a person that like seeks it. Like I'm all lovey-dovey. I'm huggy, smoochy, kissy, snuggle bear. You know, I love that kind of stuff. So I think that is probably what tripped her out. I never even thought about it until you were kind of putting it in those terms.
Exactly. And that's the thing that happens, whether you're on the enhanced side of things, I know some people that are prepping right now, or on the natural side of things. Like so many guys at the tail end, and even women at the tail end of their prep, your hormones will go down. I had a client that he chose to get his levels checked. His testosterone went down to like 250 nanograms per deciliter. And before prep, I think they were around like 6 something. So he got shredded though. But being that shredded, you're not supposed to be this shredded for a long time. You dip in, you dip out. Right. And it's like for a period of time, it's OK. But again, it's kind of interesting. The Vitruvian guy, it's like this is part of the process of becoming that lean. I don't know who can dodge it unless you are taking exogenous testosterone, then that's not a problem. But if you are getting this lean, those are the things that happen. I do think, though, that the benefit of getting this lean or getting a stage lean like you got is when you come out of it, you tend to have a better body fat distribution. What tends to happen and so many competitors will echo this sentiment, when they get that lean and they lose body fat on all those areas, when they gain body fat back, it tends to gain in a more even fashion. Whereas now, when they are in their off seasons, they tend to be able to, I still have lines in my legs. I still have lines in my abs and I'm 12, 13, 15% body fat. That's happened to a lot of competitors. So when you see people who've competed for a long time and they're off season, but they still look good, it's a byproduct of going to those deep levels of leanness and tapping into that a little bit, then coming out.
It's crazy. Like if you were to take a picture right now, like with no pump, and you put the picture on the right next to a picture of you right now, people would think that in the picture on the right, they'd be like, he's on the juice, as opposed to just the way you look just right now without like a pump.
Yeah. Plus I'm 27 pounds heavier right now than I was there.
Right. Like people would be convinced for sure. They'd be like, there's just fucking no way.
Oh, absolutely. But that's the thing. It's like when
I know people say that to you anyway, but
yeah. But when any natural guy too gets stage lean, they look so crazy because they're so lean that people just like things pop out more. When you have a pump, like every vein comes out of everywhere. right?
I think for me, you could make an argument like the bodybuilding show may have been the healthiest thing I ever did. I don't know.
Why?
Just because I've been leaner ever since. I weighed 235 when I competed, and I haven't, or 230, 235-ish, somewhere in that range. And I haven't been more than 10 pounds heavier than that the entire time. And that was like 4 years ago.
And you have a good point there, because like, okay, maybe when you're in when you're that lean, okay, maybe it's not the healthiest, but the people that are able to bounce back from those things well, and they don't rebound crazy, they don't go on binge sessions and gain 50 pounds, but they can have some control over it. I know people, and this is including myself, yourself, I know people who have been able to come out of that, and they have a much better outlook upon food and their activity, etc., even though they're not holding on to being stage lean. They come out of that and they have some of them have better habits. But it depends on how people go about it, because some people will do the craziest stuff to get that lean.
Yeah.
And when they're trying to come out of it, they're so fucked in terms of like how much they eat. They've been depriving themselves so much that they go on binge session after binge session after binge session. And then because they've gained so much weight, now they want to go back and get that body again. So they start to restrict hard, and it can fuck some people up, but it can be of benefit if you know how to handle yourself.
I think if somebody was thinking about, some other sports or different things other than just bodybuilding, and, you can get lost in powerlifting, you can get lost in those numbers, but even in something like running, I think once you start to switch, I think anybody that's in like under like a half marathon range, those all sound pretty reasonable. You run like under 13 miles, like sound like reasonable competitions to jump into. And yes, even 13 miles is pretty far. It's not easy, right? But a marathon and marathon training, that's where you can say, you know what, I would have to kind of think, if I'm all things considering, and I'd have to think that is kind of an unhealthy practice, because how many people have, a fractured tibialis because of their training for a marathon, tons of lower back pain, shin splints, ankle injuries, and the laundry list of things that can happen to a runner in their preparation for a marathon can be huge. But what if somebody says, okay, the ball drops in New York City and it's the next year, and I got a New Year's resolution, and you know what? In this year time, I am going to commit to running a marathon, even though right now I weigh 350 pounds. That training could change that person's life forever. It could be the healthiest thing they ever did. Even if it's like, oh man, like, sounds really unhealthy, man. Like what you're doing sounds really unhealthy. So the healthy thing is a really interesting thing, because are you healthier sitting at home ordering DoorDash, or are you healthier sticking some Tren in your arm? Like, I don't know, I don't know.
Why you got to do that? I thought you were going to be, are you healthier running? But you go to Tren.
Did I say Tren?
That's so good.
What the fuck, Mark?
That was great.
I think I said Tren by accident. I think
It was just
knee jerk.
There you go.
Knee jerk reaction.
We got to call that like a bellism.
What the fuck, dude? DoorDash versus Trend.
DoorDash versus Trend. Maybe you. I'm not going to say that shit, bro. That's all you. Go ahead. Keep on with it.
I would say, there's
testosterone.
You'd be good.
Yeah. There's unhealthy practices, right, that a bodybuilder can get into, where people are like, that is dangerous. Whether it's their training routine, where they are obsessed with going to the gym a lot and doing excessive cardio and just plummeting their testosterone levels, or whether they have a habit of jabbing themselves with a bunch of needles to try to get some sort of crazy response. I mean, they're all for the same thing. They're all in an effort to try to get a particular response of the human body that the body probably doesn't want to do. And you're trying to shove your body and force your body into submitting and saying like, okay, motherfucker, we're going to do this. You're giving me enough signals in this direction for me to be bigger. You're giving me enough signals in this direction for me to burn body fat. Okay, I'm going to fucking do it, but I don't want to. And as soon as you discontinue any of these activities, we're just going to go right back to homeostasis, and we're going to hang out at normal, because this shit's fucked.
because somebody's going to bring this up. I will first say I know a lot of older natural bodybuilders, and they have decent longevity, even though they get lean and come out of it. They have decent longevity, but this conversation is inevitably going to lead to like the amount of guys that are on drugs that tend to die a bit early, that do take things that far, because a lot of people, when it comes to, when we start talking about health and when we talk about people losing body fat or bigger individuals not being healthy, there will always be the comment of like, well, you see these bodybuilders dying at whatever, 50, 60, whatever. And the thing is, with those types of bodybuilders, there's a lot of compounds that are going into that. And as you get older, it gets harder to keep that stuff safe.
And more recently, a lot more unknown factors, because people are really just kind of taking stuff that's, they're called research chemicals. I mean, people are just they're taking like whatever's new because they heard this about it.
Yeah, and all of them say like not for human consumption.
That is new. That is new. Like steroids have been around for a pretty long time. Like steroids have been around since like the mid 1900s. Like they've been in the Olympic Games since like the 1950s. They've been in professional sports for a long time, and they've run rampant over the last several decades, right? And we kind of know that, but there's like a lot of other stuff out there that we didn't know the impact of, and it appears like we're starting to kind of see some of the ramifications of some of these other things. We can't pinpoint it. We don't have a thing that we can say like for sure that these particular things are super dangerous. But we do have a number of people that have died, and we don't really understand why quite yet. I don't think we like truly know. We just know that like taking a lot of stuff in bodybuilding can be dangerous. We don't have like evidence of exactly, is it this particular drug or is it this particular thing? We got some people saying it's high blood pressure and it's thick blood. Kind of seems like that's the direction we're going, but I don't think we know yet.
A lot of it tends to be heart attacks. So, I think we talked about this before, some way that some people can combat that. And you see guys like Kai Green are doing cardio every day still. They just have a habit of doing cardio. So if you're one of the people in this population of bodybuilders, don't skip cardio. Keep that involved in your process. Keeps everything moving smoothly, and ideally it'll maybe help stave off anything that could happen if you weren't involved in doing any type of cardio at all.
And it looks like Vitruvian Physique posted a video yesterday saying that he decided against TRT.
I think he probably saw Greg's video roasting the fuck out of him, and then he was like, okay, I'm not going to do it. Because, again, what's happened to him happens to every single natural bodybuilder that gets stage lean. That is not some new occurrence. I just don't think he was aware.
Yeah, you really think he wasn't aware, or you think he was just making clickbaity video? Again, I have no idea who this guy is, so I don't know if that's offensive.
Vitruvian's been making video content and fitness for a while. I think this is the first time he's gotten ready for a show. And people who have never gotten ready for a show do not understand what goes on to your body when you get stage lean. Your test tanks, especially when you're not taking exogenous testosterone. Your libido will go away if you get stage lean, because your body's like, dog, we are supposed to be 5%. Like, let's use everything to survive.
Yeah.
And I think that by getting down to 5%, you might be able to teach your body a new set point to get down to. So you may have been 15%, but because you've been bodybuilding and you've competed a couple times now, you showed your body 5%, and maybe over a period of time, you can hang out at 10% more comfortably with less work and less stress.
You're talking about that's
Albert, like what Sam, especially healthy, tested natural bodybuilding should be, right?
Yes. And that's what you'll see a lot of the healthy natural bodybuilders in their off seasons. Like this physique for me, I used to feel drained.
275 shredded.
Yeah, 275. I'm not 275, but
285.
Fuck yeah. No,
shredded.
But in the past, like your comfort at different body fat set points will change. If initially 15% body fat was really lean for you, you might do a prep, you might come back and you might be like, wow, I can maintain 13% pretty well. And when I start to dip into 10, then I start to feel kind of whatever. And then you might do it again. And then you're like, oh, well, 10% feels pretty normal. Everything's functioning the way it should. That tends to happen. So you're totally right. But that takes time. That's something that takes time.
Yeah, it takes a long ass time. I think, there's like places where we can have like agreement, I would say that like somebody training for a bodybuilding show, even somebody, let's put the drug thing aside because that is such a roll of the dice. Yeah. Let's say somebody that's doing some natural bodybuilding. I think we can all probably agree that like somebody going all in on natural bodybuilding and going really hard on a show, it probably isn't very, they have a coach, they're doing the best they can, but maybe they made a bad call in judgment. Maybe they're overtraining. Maybe they didn't eat enough fat. Maybe their sex drive goes down. But the 20 weeks of them like dieting for the show and getting ripped and getting on stage, probably not going to be all that of a net negative.
Probably not, especially if you can come out of it in a healthy way. You'll end up in a better place afterwards, again, if you can come out not binging.
So people like going and doing like a bodybuilding show, where it can get dangerous is you prepped for the show, you did the best you could, you ended up getting third place, you really want to do better next time. And so next time you just are like, I need to do more work and I need to eat less. Like you make decisions that are like working more against your body, as opposed to like, man, I came in third and like I looked kind of flat up there. I think I really need to take my time. I probably need a better coach or a different coach or someone who knows more about this. Maybe I'll go to a couple shows, try to meet some people like that. That's a longer road. Maybe I'll research it online. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll do that. But without the knowledge aspect is a huge thing, because I'm of the opinion that knowledge can solve just about everything. So you're going to have to either know it yourself or have someone in your corner that knows some stuff. But even with all that being said, I would say like you pushing yourself and you over dieting and you over cardioing and stuff like this, I don't think it's going to be that much of a net negative. I think it's going to be a teacher. Yes. Hopefully it's a teacher to you. Hopefully you can be a student, and hopefully you can learn from it and grow from it and continue to utilize what you think is going to be best effective moving forward. So, and I think from a mindset perspective, people can get into some really, you can get like an eating disorder. And once we start going down those paths, well, now we're in a really, really unhealthy spot. So once you start to kind of branch away from the original essence of what any of these sports are, bodybuilding it's a trick. It's an illusion. You're trying to look as big as you possibly can while also being as lean as you possibly can. And you're trying to demonstrate that in so many different ways. And maybe for you, maybe you just got to get more flexible. Maybe you have to figure out a way to show off your body. Maybe you need to just grow as a person because you're like super intimidated when you go on stage and your bicep is like when you do your double bicep, you're in tight, you're in close because you're embarrassed about being on stage and being in your undies, and you have to, it's a sport where you are trying to showcase yourself. So there's so much more to work on other than just your muscle mass and other than just how lean you are. And so I think you have to try your best to have a rational approach about it. And I think it could be very healthy when you have that consideration.
Not really considering the seasoned bodybuilder, but like, do you guys think that like age comes into play when it comes to like it still remaining healthy? So I'm just thinking like somebody in their mid-20s, they could probably get down. Well, I mean, okay,
roll those dice.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, like they can get down to, let's say, single-digit body fat, and then maybe even have a couple of bumps in the road as they recover, like as they come out of it. But like I feel like they'd be okay. But if somebody is, I don't know, we'll say late 30s, 40s, like, do you think that there's like they can still come out of it unscathed?
On the Natty side of things?
Yeah,
yes.
Natty, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
They do it all the time. Natty bodybuilders don't get attention because they're not as big as the guys like in the NPC. Mm-hmm. So the guys that end up getting way more attention, and I'm not saying it's like undeserved, but like the really freaky guys in the NPC, the guys that all the eyes are on. And when people look at bodybuilding and say super unhealthy, those are the guys that they look at. They don't pay attention to the guys that are in like the fucking INBA, WNBF that are 60, 70, going in the master's classes, still looking pretty fucking amazing, with great habits, getting on stage. That happens all the time. It's just, it's smaller. So like, yeah, but there are guys that are doing that all the time.
So, but like in regards to just like the average person that's not into bodybuilding, like for them to set up a date or a time and be like, whether it be I'm going to jump on stage or I'm going to just do a photo shoot, do you think they can still kind of get pretty aggressive with it and be okay?
They can when they get the right habits in place. When anybody sets a fitness goal, and I think you've seen this a lot too, both of y'all have seen this a lot, and let's say they've never really been lifting, but they see bodybuilding and they're encouraged by it and they're like, I want to do a show. Well, you need to, you got to put your expectations together. Well, what are you expecting when you do this show? Are you trying to get first place and this is year 1 or 2 of lifting? All right, maybe not first place. You can get lean, but you haven't built muscle, right? So like when I was working with people, when a new guy would come and say, I want to do a show, be like, how long you been lifting? A year and a half, 2 years. What are you expecting from the show? I want to be as lean as I've ever gotten. You expecting to win? Yeah. Don't do the show. Like if you want to do this and you want to win, you want to like, maybe you want to have a good appearance, you need to lift with volume for give yourself another year. Let's see how you look after that. No one likes to hear that. That's just the facts. Now, if you're doing it because you want to get your body to a place it's never been before and you don't care about winning, go for it. But have the right person and the right habits in check because you're about to go on a journey of depletion that you've never done before. And it's going to be intense. But if you have the right expectations set for your first show, go for it. What's up, Power Project family? It's time to stop dressing like you're a fucking preschooler and step your game up by checking out Vuori Clothing. Now, I'm not one to talk. I wear a fucking pink hat that has a dog on it, but at the end of the day, at least my shirt and shorts are popping. So head to Vuori because they have great stuff for your top and your bottom. Andrew, how can they get it?
Yes, you guys got to head over to vuori.com/powerproject. That's VUORI.com/powerproject, and you guys will automatically receive 20% off your order. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes. Let's get back to the podcast.
I'd say that competition is like inherently like dangerous, inherently a compromise of your health because now I have to race against you. Now I have to race against somebody else or be competitive against somebody else. And it's nice just to kind of hang out in your own lane. Bodybuilding in general is like extremely healthy. Like being somebody that enjoys doing bodybuilding in the gym is fucking great. It's amazing. And if you stick to, there's a lot of bodybuilding principles and ideas. Like just because you decided to do a set of 3 doesn't mean you're not really bodybuilding any longer. But for the most part, bodybuilding is usually hanging out in like a 3 to 5 set range, in an 8 to 12 rep range. And when you select weights that you can handle with good control and with good form for multiple sets of 8 to 12 repetitions, you end up with weights that are supposed to be light enough to where they're not gonna they're gonna induce muscle growth, but they're not gonna encourage an injury most likely because the weights are light enough. Again, we're using short rest intervals, 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes, depending on your fitness level. Rest 2 minutes and have at it and do 10 to 12 reps each time or 8 to 12 reps each time. It keeps you in a zone where if you are to think about the people that are in your life right now, you can't think of probably hardly anybody that can't follow that prescription of exercise. Like anyone can do that, which is amazing. So you can bodybuild from now until the day you die. And the things that it does benefit you with are unbelievable. Like what it can do for your blood sugar, what it can do for your bone density, what it can do for your metabolism. I mean, it can change, like these kinds of things can really, they can change your life. What I would say is sometimes if there's not like a strong enough challenge, then you might not really do anything. Like somebody that prepares for a photo shoot, that's way different than getting on a bodybuilding stage.
It is.
There's going to be 2 different levels of leanness that one person, and people that have prepped for both will tell you, like, oh yeah, it's way different. When it's prepped for a bodybuilding show, like you fucking get shredded. You figure it out and you get shredded. And so I think it might be important to induce or to introduce something that is sometimes a little bit unhealthy as a form of like hormesis, because it's going to be a little bit of poison goes a long way. And when you have a little bit of danger in there, just like with powerlifting, like when you roll the dice and you do like a heavy deadlift or some of these movements, sometimes those things that are deemed dangerous or look dangerous, as Louis Simmons once said, like the most dangerous exercises are sometimes the best ones and the ones that make you the strongest. So sometimes you come out the other end from doing something that's kind of dangerous, you come out the other side feeling amazing. And that's why people are obsessed with people like David Goggins or people that are doing these like really strenuous, crazy things that are really like testing your will. And the same thing I would say just for your average person, we could share this idea of like, yeah, you should go to the gym and it'd be a good idea if you went like twice a week. That twice a week is not challenging enough for anybody to follow through with doing that. It's too inconsistent. Somebody has to tell themselves right now, somebody that's not consistent with the gym, I'm going to fucking go every day at 7 a.m. That's what they have to do. They have to follow that for a while until they can have the freedom at some other point to go, I'm going to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
I have a question for you, Mark, because this, the distinction between natural and enhanced bodybuilding is very, like, there is a big difference there, not just on the physiques you see on stage.
Different sport in a way, yeah.
It is. Not just like the physique you see on stage, but then like the longevity you see of the athlete. Now, when you look at non-enhanced versus enhanced powerlifting, you don't tend to see, maybe on this, but I haven't heard of many like high-level powerlifters dying of heart attacks. But I can say that when I look at guys like, for example, Russ Swoll, Taylor Atwood, any of these people on the Natty side of powerlifting, there can be an aspect where a person maybe gets to like, because weight moves weight, right? So you have to gain a certain amount of weight. But you don't have to be fat because like there are a lot of lean guys, right? But is there like, I guess with powerlifting, anything taken to the elite level can be seen as not healthy. But a lot of those guys on that side, non-enhanced powerlifting, seem very healthy and they're moving big weights. They have great body compositions. You see Russ right there. But on the enhanced side, you see some guys that are getting huge, right? Where it's like, God, I can see your blood pressure, right?
Yeah.
So what would, because you know way more about that than I do. What's your thoughts on that?
Not to take it lightly, but death is just like way too big of a measure to butt things up against, like to have that be our only measuring thing of like, well, no one's died, so it's maybe not that bad.
That's true.
Having your blood pressure really high and doing some of the things that are done in bodybuilding, or in powerlifting rather, everything has a price. Everything has a price. I paid a price. Like, I don't know what the price is exactly. I don't know how it will work out. I don't know any different. I did what I did, and this is me, and this is what I got. I don't have any information otherwise since I didn't do anything differently. But last night I was doing some like foam rolling. I'm like rolling around in this like med ball that I have that I use for some of that. And I was digging into like my groin and I'm like, I just kind of started laughing and I'm just like, my wife's like, what are you doing? I'm like on the ground in our bedroom, like rolling around and laughing. She's like, what's going on over there? What the hell are you doing? My dog's like jumping on my head.
Daisy.
And I said, I don't know. I said, I'm just kind of laughing because it's like, it's so ridiculous. Like I did all this to myself. Like I did this to myself. I mean, I don't have any other information. Like I may have been the same way. Like maybe I would still be on the ground rolling around if I didn't powerlift. Like maybe my tissues would still be tight. I don't know. But there's been a lot of compromises that have happened over the years that are really like painful and they're hard to like unwind and undo. Like you want some of what I got, then fucking, I don't think you have any idea of like the compromises that have been made with just the own movement of my own body and the way that I have had to try to figure this body out. Like, how do I live inside this body now that I did all these things?
You mean like powerlifting? Like having to?
Okay. Yeah. Have done powerlifting. I mean, just this like ball that I was rolling on, just like inducing so much pain. It's like kind of making me almost laugh about it because I'm thinking this is kind of comical because I'm sometimes thinking of like, a lot of people want to like achieve a lot in life. And I think they do want to achieve a lot in life, but as long as it doesn't have that big of a price to pay. And the price that I paid to do the stuff, I'm not complaining about it. I took it on. Like that's what I did. I chose all that, and it's all stuff that I love. It's all stuff that I like. But I'm going to spend the next 10 years of my life trying to unwind and unwrap a lot of the things that I've done over the years to myself to keep myself stiff for the sport that I loved and cared about so much. And so I have no other choice. I mean, what am I going to do, cry about it? I got no other choice than to laugh about it, because I'm just like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, I'm going to be spending a lot of time. I spent all that time bracing myself and preparing myself. And literally, I remember picking up weights and squatting weights and just saying, you're not going to fucking move from here. Like, this weight, no matter how fucking heavy it is, you're just not going to move. My legs are going to move. I'm going to squat. I'm going to force my knees out. I'm going to sit back. But the rest of me is going to be like fucking stone. You're not going to move. And now I'm trying to move. And because I integrated that into my life for so long, I'm like a fucking brick. So there's a lot of stuff to fix over a long period of time, because of what I did was so far one way that it was unhealthy.
I think, though, like, the really cool thing, though, is how far you've come. Like, see, I wish I got some video of you, like, running around this morning, because, like, if you were
Was I running around like a pansy?
No, you look, man, you're looking good. Like, you're moving well. Your body's moving. Everything is starting, like, it seems for you, like, things are really clicking as far as your movement's concerned. Good. So you're successfully unwinding the stiffness you've built up through powerlifting, right? But the question does remain, to be great, to get there, do you have to sacrifice health? And I guess it's what do you think? It just matters what you define as healthy. Because if you love the sport so much, then the healthiest version of you is going to be competing in that sport. I don't
even know how unhealthy it was. Because like I'm a one of one. I don't have anything to compare it to. Maybe I would feel the same, look the same, be the same if I never powerlifted. Because maybe I would have made some other decisions to do something else that would have kept on a certain amount of muscle or something. I don't know. But I agree with you. It does kind of make you kind of think or wonder. I don't think that you have to. I don't think that you have to necessarily. Well, again, because you're competing, there's going to be compromises. Like what Russ Swole does, or any of these other guys. No matter how good they look, no matter whether they're natural or not, like it's still to a point where you're like, bro, you're squatting 700 pounds. Like it's a lot of weight, and there's a price to pay for that. There's some sort of price to pay for one individual, because the way that they prepare for it and the way that they chose to do it, the price could be really minimal. Maybe they just have like a flared up knee the rest of their life, or maybe they just have like can't turn their neck, one particular way all that well. But there's other guys. I mean, I was hearing Rogan talk about it the other day. He was talking about one of the fighters, how he's kind of like partially blind in one eye. And these are just things that are like, yeah, partially blind in one eye. I can't see that great. There's all kinds of things where you're like, that's normal. And I think what would be healthy in the particular case of powerlifting would be to not accept stuff as being normal. Your pain isn't normal. You bleeding out of your nose shouldn't be normal. It should be abnormal, and it should be something to be heavily considered and to be heavily thought about. I'm not saying quit. I'm not saying like don't do what you're doing. I'm saying just think about it and start to think about, if I make this better every time I compete, I'm going to be fucking stronger. So why wouldn't I choose to make it better? There's so many lifters out there that are walking around in tons of pain, and they just continue to do the same thing over and over and over again. Stan Efferding was in so much pain, he thought he needed hip surgery.
Really?
He went to the strength coach. He went to Mark Philippi of the strength coach of UNLV. Mark Philippi was a former World's Strongest Man competitor, and so that guy knew what was up. He had Stan do corrective exercises. Stan discontinued squats, he discontinued deadlifts, he discontinued the things that he loved that hurt him, He discontinued the things that he loved that hurt him. He chose to do a bunch of other stuff that he didn't want to do, that was boring, that was annoying. He dedicated himself to it for months and months and months. And he came back into powerlifting and he broke another all-time world record. So that's what I want. That's what I would love to see other lifters do. And Stan's been somebody that's been meticulous with the blood work. Now, he's got no guarantees either. Like, no one has any guarantees. We don't know what, just makes someone not here the next day sometimes. We don't always get to know that information. But it appears, by most accounts, in the given way that Stan has chosen to compete in professional bodybuilding and in professional powerlifting, that he's pushed it as extreme as someone could under the best circumstances and best ways that he could possibly think in terms of having some sort of health in mind. So even when he powerlifted and he got really big and he got up to like 300 pounds and stuff, which was really fun to watch, he knew it was short term. Like, this is for this. This is short term, and that blood work does not look great. But we're gonna change it as soon as the competition's over. This is not a good idea. Like, he knows this is not a good idea. But how bad do you want that record? How bad do you want to have this impact? He wanted to do it. He wanted to compete. He wanted to be great. And so those are the things that he rolled the dice on.
Did you get blood work when you were competing in powerlifting?
I did, but it was more towards the end. It was later. The blood work, I was just not aware of blood work. I think probably until I was around Stan a lot more.
That's what I was thinking.
And then Stan is the one who brought it up to me probably in like 2010 or something. But yeah.
And I think Nsima has asked you this question before, but like in regards to like the things that you did back then to get you so, like casted really like all over your whole body. Was there anything that you think you could have done to where you wouldn't have to unwind so much of the stiffness?
I don't know. It might have changed everything too. So I don't really know. I did probably 2012 or something, or maybe sooner. I mean, I did meet Kelly Starrett pretty early on, and like I did do some mobility WOD stuff, but like I wasn't like, I wasn't spending a lot of time.
It just made you lift more.
Yeah. That's what it did. I mean, I went from a 942 squat to 1,080 with Kelly's help. And some of that was just like, it was more like just like opening stuff up before I lifted. And I didn't really pay much attention to, because it's just like, it takes fucking hours to be able to squat 1,000 pounds. Yeah. So you do something, kind of open up your hips, you do your squat and you're out. And then you're just thinking of like the next lift the next day and stuff. So I'm sure there could have been some stuff. I mean, even just, who knows, maybe just some simple stretching. If I had been doing it from that time till now, I mean, I would say that, probably would have maybe had some benefit, but I'm not sure.
One thing I'm very curious about is the nature of equipped lifting. Has you using a suit that you will get in a position, and that suit will help you lift more weight out of a odd position, right? Like equipped squatters squat in a different way than raw squatters typically squat. So then that makes me wonder, is there a difference between the movement outside of a suit of an equipped powerlifter versus the way a raw powerlifter moves out without a suit?
Yeah, there's some massive differences. And I think that the equipment saved me.
The equipment saved you?
I think it saved me. I think it really did. And I think it's why you also don't see, like, there's not a lot of other lifters like going and doing really anything different other than lifting, other than me. Right? Yeah. I mean, who's been around for a long time that just decide, I'm going to start fucking running? I mean, is there any, I know there's guys that are running, but it's not like Lane Norton's out for a run. He lifted like raw and stuff. And he could, like, Lane's in great shape. I'm sure he'd probably be great at running. He's good at everything.
Yeah.
But, I think the powerlifting gear helped. I think it probably helped me. It may have hurt me too, because like what you're saying is 100% true, and it makes it super dangerous. And you can get warped into like a weird position really quickly to where you can get hurt like really bad. You can get hurt really fast and stuff like that.
Because like the suit, like in my mind, again, I could be totally wrong, but when I look at it, it feels as if the suit can help a person compensate bad positioning. What do you think about that? In some cases, yes. In some cases, no.
Yeah, I mean, it could. But I was pretty meticulous with that side of things. Yeah, I was pretty meticulous with that part of it. So I don't think it was a negative factor for me.
Would you say though that like it might potentially push a lifter to like just with the squat, like maybe because they're going to push into the suit, they'll like squat way wider than they typically would without the suit, and then maybe squatting super wide might have fucked up their hips?
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the whole what if. Yeah, lots of speculation.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like some nice ego stroking, but Ryan Soper was talking about this. Like, I can't think of anybody that went so hard in powerlifting that was 330 pounds that also turned it around and went super hard in bodybuilding, won a show, and then now is fucking running. Like, I was joking. I was like, yeah, I don't think anybody in fitness would be willing to pack on that much body fat and stuff to go all in on like powerlifting, but then also kind of like, you know what I mean? And I guess the reason why it's like not really seen because of what you looked like in your powerlifting days.
Right.
Like it is a very, very stark contrast compared to the bodybuilding stuff to now the running.
Yeah, you got some people that are like, executing in a bunch of different ways at a bunch of different things. And it kind of makes you even think about how healthy that is, how healthy is it to just even be like Joe Rogan? Like, he's proficient at a lot of things. He's really like, but those things are all things he's really interested in. And they're things that he really enjoys. So maybe it's healthier for him to pursue stuff like and attack stuff the way that he likes to. It seems like he is very focused. He does jujitsu. He's like good at like hunting. He's good at like pool. He's amazing striker. I mean, for a long time he was high level Taekwondo. He's announcing UFC. He's perfected his ability to be a communicator, a stand-up comedian. He's the best podcast in the world. Like it's just the list of stuff goes on and on. You're like, oh my God, that's crazy. And also he's very health conscious and very health minded. What if he got a report that said, hey, you know what? This study came out, and when you do 6 different things at one time, it actually shows that like no one lived past 73 years old. Would somebody discontinue? Like it's like, no, I love doing all this shit. Fuck that. I'm not going to listen to that study. I'm going to trust my gut. And so the stuff that I did during powerlifting, like maybe there were compromises and maybe I did realize that some of them weren't a good idea, but I was like, this is what I like. This is what I like to do.
There's also the aspect that just no one has done it. So the study would probably be like, no one's done this.
Yeah,
you should probably be careful.
Yeah. And you're like, well, I don't care.
And then somebody would be like, I read a study that says no one's done it, so be careful. So you're going to die.
You think about like Nick Bare's done some pretty impressive stuff. Not pretty impressive. He's done some very impressive stuff. And then there's also the weight of like running a big company. Ron Penna is somebody that we talk about quite a bit. He sold Quest Nutrition for $1 billion. Like no one's done that in the history of supplements. So that guy is unbelievable. But there's a guy that really cares a lot about his health, his nutrition, his exercise. And he's not necessarily even competing in bodybuilding or in martial arts or in anything, but I guess he's competing in life and he's winning and doing really well. But how healthy is that? How healthy is it to take on these things? Or, does it maybe just depend on how into it somebody is or how they are able to manage it? Because it seems to me like he's managed it pretty good. Doesn't seem like he's stressed about anything. Seems pretty calm, right? Seems pretty relaxed.
Yeah, right. Chill. I was going to mention Nick Bare. He also mentioned going deep within running. I think he made a video about it, how his testosterone tanked when he got to his leanest, when he got to his best performance in terms of running. His test was like super low. So it's not that necessarily like running isn't healthy, but what's the mileage you're putting on, right?
I want to also say that sometimes when you're just losing like body weight, that you're why are you looking at me like that? What are you doing?
Like what? Am I? What? Hey, pull up the black young doctor. You just type in black young doctor on Google. His face will pop up. He's wearing glasses.
What? Sorry. What
Just type in black young doctor on Google. His face will pop up. I just realized this.
I don't know.
With glasses.
It's
young black fake doctor. Just type, okay, young black fake doctor.
Okay.
Black young fake doctor. Just put fake between young and doctor.
okay.
It'll pop up. All right, images.
All right.
That's it. That's
Do you guys
it.
remember the story of this motherfucker?
That's why you were looking. No, what'd this guy do?
Yeah.
He legit started a whole fucking practice where like the news came in and he took them through his office, but it was a scam. He wasn't
Oh
a doctor.
my God.
He was out here treating people for a minute and they're like, oh wow, he's such a great doctor.
Oh shit.
And he wasn't a fucking doctor.
How old was he? He looks
Dang.
He
like
was a fucking teenager, bro.
okay. I'm like, looks like a child. Wow.
Yeah, I got to go rewatch this interview. This guy was clutch. What were you saying though before you lost track of your thought? What does that say?
Teen accused of posing as a doctor. And
That's
speaks
great.
out. Denies taking money from patients.
Denies it. Of course he does. Nah, I didn't.
What?
This
Nah.
is y'all got to go to this. Go find this YouTube video.
He's
It's
like,
fucking
it was
comedy.
it was a fake non-for-profit practice.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Oh god.
I think what I was saying is that I don't even really remember, but
Nick Bear. I mentioned Nick Bear. People losing weight.
yeah, I was gonna say, sometimes like even just with something like when somebody loses weight, their blood, their markers of health will be like compromised, and
Yeah.
somebody will be like, "I'm losing weight. Why is this happening?" So there's might be things like cholesterol. There might things like triglycerides, and sometimes people are like, "Oh my god, my shit's all messed up, and I think it's because of this diet, because I don't eat carbs anymore, or because I decided to do carnivore." It's like, actually, your blood work is kind of messed up right now because you're losing a bunch of weight. You lost like 30 pounds. It doesn't happen all the time. A lot of times when people lose weight, their markers of health will improve drastically. But sometimes I've seen this happen before where people are losing weight and their body's just like trying to readjust. And so I think if you're running, you're lifting hard, you're doing CrossFit. We've seen this with a lot of women have kind of reported they don't have their period, and there's a lot of other stuff that's going on. A lot of other hormones are being compromised during particular sports when you're pushing it really hard. And normally these things are really temporary. So as long as it seems like a temporary thing, it'd be advisable to get more than just one blood sample. But if it's temporary and you're doing what you enjoy doing, I mean, just because you got that blood work back, while you've been logging a lot of miles, are you now going to stop? Or are you going to say, oh, okay, well, that's what's going on in the bedroom. That's why my desire and my sex drive is low.
Yeah.
Like I have evidence of like, it's just correlated to this. When I run 100 miles a week, this is the kind of shit that can happen to me.
Yeah, fatigue will do that. Like if you get your blood work in a hard week of training and you are tired, whether you're a lifter or like, let's say you do every day you've been doing jujitsu for the whole week. On Sunday, if you get your fucking blood work done, your shit, because of all the added fatigue, your shit's going to be swamped. But thing is, a few days, you're right out of there. So that's not an issue. But this kind of brings into the video that we did where we were talking about TRT being healthy or I forgot, but it's a video that's going kind of wild on the channel right now. There were a few comments of, there's some guys who were like, I went on TRT for a little bit. And actually the video was about never coming off of TRT because why would you? But there are a few comments where people were like, yeah, I got on some TRT and initially my test was low because I wasn't healthy. I was obese, got on some TRT, got to normal levels and helped push me towards, being able to build the habits of dropping weight. And then I came off later, right? So that's an interesting thing, where testosterone can be healthy, but the place where it gets unhealthy is like when you're trying to get to 2000 or just some insane level that's crazy superficial loss. Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but that's what I'm assuming.
Oh no, there's going to be a bigger price to pay. Yeah, the more of that shit you try to like pump through your system, the body's really smart, and it's going to it's going to always try to get you back to being like normal and being balanced. And as soon as you throw it out of balance, it knows. Your body keeps track. It keeps score of all these things. It knows when its testosterone levels are really high. So when your testosterone levels start to go through the roof, your estrogen levels start going up. A bunch of other levels start to kind of shadow or mimic the other hormones that are being shifted. Like you can't just raise your testosterone.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder too about like over-the-counter things that raise your testosterone as well, like the Frank Thomas commercials. But you don't have any problems with it. It just makes you kind of wonder like what some of those other products might do.
You grab that so aggressively too.
I mean, anything that's going to increase your growth hormone or increase your IGF-1 or your testosterone, it's going to have a cause somewhere else down the road of something else. So it's good to be mindful of these things. It's good to know about these things. And if you want to be somebody that is going to be competitive in anything, there probably is going to be some aspects of your health that are going to be compromised. I mean, it's possible doing something like jujitsu that like your top of your feet are going to, like the skin off the top of your feet's going to fucking fall off. You know, there's just like so many things that can happen.
Sounds so horrible.
Yeah. Even just being a new powerlifter and just having the bar on your back, like this shit hurts to have the barbell on your back. A deadlift bar hurts at first.
About that.
The first couple times you use a deadlift bar, you're like, ow, that really hurt.
I have a picture on my Instagram way back, like 2014, when I first started like squatting. I took a picture of like my back scars because I had open skin here and here on both sides of my back. I was like, yeah, and then it calloused over.
I remember it like it kind of looked like I had just like a fucking big ass hickey on my back. Like it just like caused like an insane amount of like, I don't know, blood pressure or something right there.
Yeah.
It's just got all weird.
And that kind of stuff's not necessarily unhealthy. It's just like part of the sport. But when you go and do like a bench press or a squat, like could you imagine somebody trying to get your blood pressure right then to see what's going on? I mean, it's got to be fucking like off the rails. Or a set of 20 squats, your heart rate's got to go nuts.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna like kind of just bring up is like the duration thing. So like what you were talking about, like, oh, let's take carbs out of the diet. Now the person doesn't feel good; they almost feel sick. It's like, okay, right now maybe it's not healthy for you, but in the long run, and again, healthy, like you just don't feel good right now. But in the long run, you're gonna feel better. So kind of just like with the testosterone stuff, like a lot right now feels great. You're healthy right now. But if you keep doing that for a long time or whatever gear usage it is, like, yeah, over time, like then it might become unhealthy, right? So it's healthy until it's not.
Yeah.
And then the flip side is like it might not feel good until it does. And then, yeah, if somebody were to take my labs right now, I'd be fucking shot.
You know, man, that video, the comments made me think of so many things. And I want you guys to comment below too your thoughts on this, because some interesting conundrums popped off of that video. There were a few guys that mentioned something interesting. What happens if there ends up being supply chain issues as far as your testosterone? Like, let's say you do it and then for some reason you can't get it for a while. Like, what happens there? Because it's like, what are you going to do? So that's something. I'm curious maybe what your thoughts are on that, because I don't know if that's ever happened. But one thing that people were commenting, I saw a few comments of, and I got a DM about this too, where a young man mentioned, and this was from the DM, he was like, you know, my test is great, I'm young or whatever, but my brother, he has depression, he doesn't have motivation to do much, he doesn't really exercise right now, he got his blood work done, his test is like 2 something, right? So for a young guy, I'm usually in the side of like, young people, young men don't need to be on exogenous testosterone. But it's like, some of the guys commented, there was some guy that was like, yeah, I was sleeping in my bed for like 16 hours and nothing motivated me. And then I got on TRT and then boom, I got the motivation to start doing a lot of things. It pushed them out. It got them there, right? So it's like, either you change your habits, because your habits can make a big difference. You just going and doing more, eating right, getting sleep, all of these simple things can get you to a good place. But that takes time, that takes motivation, and that takes you making a fucking effort.
Yeah.
Or B, some testosterone getting you, giving you that motivation, and then it propels you, right? And I was just like, fuck. Like, I mean, I want to tell guys to do the habit thing, and I believe in that, but like, I don't blame somebody. for choosing to get on a
Yeah.
normal dose of test, even if they're young, even though I don't like it when young guys do it. I don't know, dude. It's tough.
Yeah, I think if I was depressed, I would be okay with a trade-off of something maybe slightly unhealthy especially to get me out of that. And hopefully maybe that thing isn't permanent. And if the thing is permanent, maybe it's something that I can just live with. You know, like if I got to take a little kratom because I'm depressed, or if I got to smoke a little weed because I'm stressed, or if I got to I think these are all like reasonable. Like that sounds okay. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, but what if the weed, because you smoke it, once a week and you smoke a decent amount of it, and it's gonna negatively impact your sleep, and it's gonna take 2 years off your life. Mm. Let's say there's some research out there that proves that. I don't fucking care. Like, I don't want to be stressed. To me, like, so you can make sense of I personally think in my own head, that's the way it works. I can make some sense to some of this stuff and say, yeah, you know what? I don't fucking care about the extra 2 years that much. I want to live my life as strongly, as powerfully as I can for as long as I can, but I'm not too concerned about a couple extra minutes or a couple extra hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think I don't know shit about anything, but I would say that like testosterone is probably going to be a safer bet than like SSRIs. Cause like with that shit, like the way that they're prescribed is it's like, oh, you have these symptoms, take this one. Oh, that made you feel worse. Take this one. Let's try this one. So, because there's like no, they can't research the brain, right? Like that sounded silly, but what I'm saying is like, we still have so much to figure out about the way how our brains work. Mm-hmm. That's why they can't tell you like, this is going to make you feel better. This is going to make you happy. They don't know. So it's like, this is supposed to work. So give this a go. But it could be something like, oh, your testosterone's low, your libido's low. Maybe take some exogenous testosterone and go for a walk, and you probably walk yourself to the gym and start lifting and start feeling better.
Yeah.
So I would say that like, yeah, testosterone probably would be a safer bet than some SSRIs that are being prescribed left and right.
And as much as I understand that though, it's like now it seems that testosterone is becoming the answer that SSRIs are becoming for guys with depression. It's like, instead of using this antidepressant, use some test. Because like, a doctor will give a guy antidepressants. And again, I'm being very crass in general here, right? I know this isn't everybody, but with the amount of habits we talk about, the amount of habits that we're doing, getting some sunlight, these things actually make a big difference. Walking, eating enough, getting some exercise, right? Not sitting around too much, getting used to moving your body, that will propel you in that direction. And if you don't have these habits, but you choose to go the test route, some guys will go the test route and they won't build any of the habits just because that makes the difference. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's like some people smoke weed because it makes them feel good, but then they get too much into the habit of smoking weed and it goes too far, right? So you do this test, but you don't have your lifestyle stuff in check. Like, what are you really doing here?
Yeah, that's why I always say, why not both?
I guess, yeah, why not both?
Which is not like a safe thing to say, but it's like, yeah, get on test, but make sure you are going to still follow these habits. Like if you are not on anything, it's just that way you check all the damn boxes.
I think it's important to know that like you shouldn't need anything. You shouldn't need caffeine. You shouldn't need any of these things, and then you make a choice on how you want to proceed from there. But like anything that you need that's kind of an external, that's not like food or other, just like there's certain common conveniences of like running water and things like that. But the things that we need that are external that can change our mood or give us energy, those are things that you have to consider. You got to think about them. How much coffee am I really going to drink? How much espresso? How many monsters am I going to have? And those are things that I think the three of us, we think about them. Yeah. Whether we know we're logical with them, we don't really know. We're just trying to do the best we can with it. Just like anybody else is. And I think if things put you in a better frame of mind, and you feel like you're better for the moment, that's cool and that's good. But do you always need it for the moment? And are you always reaching for it? Like some alcohol can be great. having a couple drinks can be really fun. But did you do that yesterday? And did you do it the day before? And is it like, are you starting to maybe getting like a bad pattern with it? And same with weed and kratom and
It's
any
happened
of
to me
these
with
things.
weed. It's happened to me with weed in the past. I know it's like, I'm starting to smoke a little bit too often each night. I need to back the fuck off. Like that did happen. Same thing with alcohol. I realized I'm starting to drink wine every night.
It happened with mushrooms with me recently. I was just like,
Andrew.
I know. I was like, I've been wanting to do this for so long and I never did it. But then like, I'd be like, oh, let me just boop. Like, damn, I'm getting so much work done. My back feels good. Like, this is awesome. I'm fucking feeling great. And then the next day it's like, I'll ramp it up again. And then the next day I was just like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like, so it's been a hot minute and did a little bit today, but
That's the interesting thing though with testosterone, because testosterone, like you get on a schedule and then you take it a certain amount of time each week, and it is you don't just stop. I mean, the video that's going on the channel is you know,
it's titled "Why Most People Who Take Testosterone Never Come Off."
Yeah. We talked about it. You feel really good and it boosts you. So most guys are just like, why would I ever come off? Right. But I mean, it kind of goes back to that thing of like, do you want to have to need something to have performance benefits forever? I mean, it's tough because it helps you feel good, but it would also, like, if there ever comes a point where you can't get your test, are you the same guy? Are you like, that Snickers commercial? Are you yourself without your Snickers?
Not going anywhere for a while.
Do you guys think the supply chain issues thing is like valid too? I don't know. Just someone posed that comment. I'm just like, is that
No, you can
don't
make
think
you
so.
can make testosterone all day long.
make it in your basement?
It's called like what's it called? Like your underground lab.
Yeah.
Like you get the stuff and you bake it yourself.
You know what's weird is like I've asked a couple people that have been on the show before, but like no one ever really knows where it comes from, and they're like, it comes from China. And I'm like, yeah, kinda, but like, where does it come from? And I'm like, I heard it was extracted from like a potato or something like that, and then there seems to be some evidence of some of that, but then like, no one really, like, where are these potatoes?
Yeah.
This is a sweet potato. Like, where do I get some of these potatoes?
I just remember Gorilla Chemist being like, no, Mark, like, we just make it. Like, but out of what? And he's just like, you just put some stuff together and it just poof.
The world doesn't work that way.
Like,
Not the world that I'm in.
Yeah. And then
like
you can't make something out of nothing.
Here's your testosterone.
yeah.
He's like, I stole 3 pubic follicles from Nsima. I'm going to put it in this beaker.
Dude, that's some potent stuff right there.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
I know, and
drink that.
he shaves everything, so he's keeping all that from us.
My pubes are red?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Why are they red?
Because he dyed him that way.
Okay.
Because he's a freak. Bingo! Freak show.
So you dye him and then shave him off. That's interesting.
It's like an arrow pointing down.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I like to look down and see something that's shocking. Makes me feel a little spicy.
And then red, yeah. Very eye-catching.
Yeah.
So strange.
It's okay.
Strange
I dig
show.
it. Yeah. Some would say that.
Yeah.
Thankfully, they say nice things, though. So
Wait, who says nice things?
people that rate and review the show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
they
do a
do. Thank you,
fantastic
guys.
job, yeah.
If you could keep doing that, could help a little podcast out. Just do a real quick Spotify, Apple rate and review. Do it real quick. Takes no time.
What accent or what?
I don't know what the fuck this is, dude.
He's just making it up.
It's something. It's something that goes like a little like this. Yep.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I think we covered everything.
I think we may have. Yeah.
Might have.
Yeah. I don't. Again, I think you got to try to, follow your heart, follow your interests, follow the things that you really love, and do them to the best of your ability. But I do think that there should be, like, for me, like I know I said earlier, like I was all in on powerlifting and stuff, but like I did think about the future, and there may have been times I may have like paused that and said, like, I'm not too concerned about that. I'm going to dive in on this. But that was for like weeks at a time and sometimes months at a time. And it could have been detrimental, but it was like, let me just Let me just like not worry about this side of things for a moment. I know my blood pressure's high. I know I'm really red. I know I'm really fat. I know I'm really bloated, but I can kick some ass lifting some weights. So let me keep going with that. And I would, kind of not pay that much attention to my health. But when a competition was over, I'd always go back into, dropping some weight and trying to feel better and things like that. So do your best to apply your own rational ideologies around it. Your own, you pick your own, and you get to choose that. And you can decide, I'm going to go this direction in bodybuilding, and I'm going to be the best bodybuilder I can be under these conditions, under these circumstances. I think stand efforting is a good example. There's probably other people that you can look to and look up to in that realm where it appears that they did something in an intense fashion, but they were also smart about it. Mm-hmm. And so who on the internet, who on Instagram, YouTube, like who are some of these people that you can look at and say, I like the way Russ Swole is doing it. That's the way I'm going to try to. I mean, that's what you did. That's what I did. And like we've all like picked people in the past where like I like that route. Yeah. That's a really good route. I'm gonna fucking stick with some of that. So I think to mimic what some of the other people in the past have done, if you feel like it's something that's going to be, I guess, like the best route for you, then fucking go for it.
And to add on to that, your being healthy can be a byproduct of your performance. Because like one thing that I really do think about, and I think the reason why I think so much about health is just because that's been something that's been driven into me since I was young. My mom was all about health, no matter what I was doing. So whenever I'm doing anything athletically with my body or nutrition, etc., I try to think about long-term health with it. And like I'll know if it's taking away or if it's bringing benefit. And I think there is a power in any athlete, right? You might have this athletic goal in terms of bodybuilding, powerlifting, jiu-jitsu, whatever it is, running. But you can think about, okay, the miles I'm doing each week, how am I feeling? Is this healthy? Maybe not, but I know that I'm going to be doing this for a period of time. This isn't forever. And there can be a power in that because then it's like you know what you're doing and nothing blindsides you. A lot of athletes, because they're not thinking about their health at all when they go towards these things, they're blindsided by something. They're getting ready for something and their heart's going whatever. They're like, it's just part of the process, bro. It's just part of the process. And then boom. You know what I mean? Like, think about these things. Take time to get some blood work done. Get that done often. That's why we work with Merrick Health. You know what I mean? Because you can still head towards there, but you can do everything within your power to be as healthy as you can while you drive hard towards your goal. Don't be oblivious to it.
Take us on out here, Andrew.
Alrighty, thank you everybody for checking out today's episode. Make sure you stay tuned for Smelly's Smelly's tip.
Big old tip.
Big old tip. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe if you guys are not subscribed. Drop those comments down below. And for anything podcast related, head over to powerproject.live. Follow the podcast at MB Power Project on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. My Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter is at I am Andrew Z. And Nsima, where are you at?
Powerproject.live. Get everything there.
Everything.
Discord, we're over 2,200 people, and they're thriving. Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube, and Nsima Inyang on TikTok and Twitter. Mark.
Just want to share with you guys today to be creative. That's the smelly tip of the day, is to figure out ways that you can be creative. It seems like in the last couple years, people put on their Instagram that they're content creators, and that's been a more popular thing, where I think maybe in the past, people would not think that they were good at forms of art. They didn't think they were good at creating what I would consider is like new knowledge, but everybody possesses the ability to do that. Whether you're 15 or you're 5 or you're 100, everyone possesses the ability to have a critical eye and to think about stuff and to be creative. And I think some of the places it started for me was sometimes to think the opposite of anything that I've ever kind of encountered or thought about. So maybe that would be helpful for you the next time that you are, I don't know, you think of like what would be the opposite of like resistance training, for example. Well, maybe it would be something that is like a little bit more supportive, that can assist you through a lift, that gives you a little boost, because resistance training can hurt. So maybe you think of something like a slingshot, something that alleviates pain or stress, or whatever these things are that you're doing on a daily basis. How can you look at them from a slightly different perspective? How can you think of them from a different vantage point? A lot of times It's somebody that is doing something new or different, and they're like, why isn't there something for this? And it's because no one else ever thought of it, because they don't remember what it was like to be new. Andrew, with his experience with jiu-jitsu, like, you just don't know. Like, you might be able to think of, and on top of that, push your creativity. You know, once, like I said, everyone has the ability to be creative. Push it. That thing that you're thinking about, that you've been talking about forever, fucking figure out a way to do it. Creativity without actually producing it is kind of shitty. So it will make you feel absolutely incredible to be able to make something that was in your head at some point and to like turn it into like a product. I'm waving this Nibosu thing around, and these people made these finger extensor things. I mean, it doesn't matter how weird or how stupid you think it is, whatever's in your mind and in your heart, figure out a way to try to produce it or make it. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. I'm at Mark Smelly Bell. Catch you guys later. Bye.